I can still hear her voice echoing in that sterile hospital corridor. "You're letting your sister die." The sound wasn't a plea. It was an accusation, sharp enough to slice through the thin air between us. My mother's face was red with fury, eyes wild. My father stood behind her, jaw tight, disgust simmering just beneath the surface. When I said no, he called me a selfish mistake. The words didn't sting. Not anymore. They just confirmed what I'd always known. They dragged me here to that hospital to carve out half my liver for the golden child. But when the doctor walked in and spoke 6 words, everything went still. 6 words that made my mother collapse in her chair. And in that silence, my revenge finally took its first breath. You'd think betrayal comes with thunder. Loud, dramatic, impossible to miss. Mine arrived quietly, like a crack in glass, invisible until the whole thing shattered. I was home from college for a week. My sister Emily had been sick for months. Liver failure, they said. Everyone in the family was tested for compatibility. Everyone except my father. He didn't have the right blood type. Neither did my mother. Only I did. That's when they started treating me like property. Suddenly, I wasn't the forgotten son who paid his own tuition and worked night shifts. I was AirSource, a spare part. The day I overheard them whispering, I stopped in the hallway. "She doesn't need to know." Mom said, "We'll tell him it's his duty, family duty." Dad's voice was low. "How is us after everything?" I remember standing there holding my breath, feeling that cold clarity settle inside me. They didn't love me. They just needed what was inside me. That night, I started planning. I found Emily's files in Dad's locked cabinet. Medical records, test reports, insurance forms. But there was another file, one labeled confidential adoption records. Not hers, mine. The papers said it all. I wasn't their biological son. They adopted me when Emily's health first started, failing because she needed a compatible donor. I sat there reading the same sentence over and over. I was never their son. I was their solution. My hands didn't shake. My eyes didn't blur. I just felt still. That kind of stillness you only get before a storm. I didn't confront them. Not yet. I smiled at breakfast. I helped Mom in the kitchen. I even drove Emily to her appointments. Every move I made was measured. Because revenge, real revenge, doesn't come from rage. It comes from patience. I contacted the hospital anonymously, told them my family might be hiding details from the donor evaluation process. They opened an investigation quietly, and I made sure every missing document, every falsified form traced back not to me, but to them. Then I booked my own appointment with the transplant coordinator. I told them something no one in my family knew, that I had an autoimmune condition, one that made organ donation lethal. They ordered a full review, and that's how everything began to unravel. The morning they dragged me to the hospital, I didn't resist. Mom clutched my arm so tight it left bruises. Dad kept whispering, "Yeah, we her. You owe us." When the doctor entered, his voice was calm but heavy. He looked at me first, then at them, and said the 6 words that would end it all. "He's not a viable donor anymore." Mom's face drained of color. She turned to the doctor, frantic. "What do you mean?" "He's fine. He has to be fine." The doctor hesitated, then sighed. "His medical file was reviewed. He has an autoimmune disorder. If we proceed, he could die." I looked straight at her and said softly, "I told you I wasn't doing this." Then came the part I'd been waiting for, the part where the truth detonated. The doctor turned to my father. "And one more thing. The hospital legal department found inconsistencies in the adoption paperwork you submitted years ago." Mom's knees buckled. Dad's face went pale. And for the first time in my life, they both looked afraid. In the hallway, while nurses rushed to comfort my mother, I leaned close to my father. He tried to speak, but I cut him off. "I know why you adopted me," I said. He froze. His eyes darted away like a man trying to escape a mirror. "You didn't save me," I whispered. "You purchased me." He opened his mouth, but I stepped back before he could lie. "Now you'll watch her suffer," I said, voice low. "The same way you made me suffer every day of my life." They lost everything after that. Fraud investigation, hospital blacklisted them. Their reputation gone. The community that worshipped them gone. Emily, she got her transplant eventually from a legitimate donor. She still writes sometimes. She never knew what her parents did, and I'll never tell her. She doesn't need their rot. As for me, I disappeared, changed my number, moved cities. Freedom feels quiet, like standing in a house after the